Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. Let's get to it. And a very first conversation tonight is about the Gold Reserve Bill. That bill passed a second reading. Is a bill for an act to make provision for Nigeria's gold reserve industry. It was sponsored by a lawmaker representing Kogi Central on the platform of the PDP, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. The bill is seeking a robust framework for the harnessing, exploitation, and marketing of gold. It's reported that Nigeria has about 600,000 tons of gold reserves worth about $45 billion US. The senator in a bill is proposing the legislation to present a significant opportunity to drive economic growth and diversification by creating a conducive environment for investment in the gold sector that can attract both domestic and foreign investors, stimulate job creation, and boost revenue streams for the government. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, distinguished, for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Cheryl. It's good to have, I'm grateful that you have me here. And I really miss being in studio.
Yeah, this is your first time since your inauguration, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I took a break. I took the much-deserved break.
But how's it being a senator of the Federal Republic?
Oh, it's been quite interesting. It was everything I expected. I've been busy legislating, oversighting and representing my people. And I've also been able to strike a balance with my home. Yeah. Still cook.
As a mother, as a wife, and all that?
Yeah, I still cook. I still do everything. So striking a balance, that's what matters more to me. But I'm glad that my people are happy so far. And I've been able to learn the ropes quickly in the Senate. And yeah, I've had my debate for my very first bill last week.
That's good. It's interesting. It's golden. It's about the gold.
It is.
I mean, how are you also managing local politics in Kogi?
I visit home often, trying to strengthen the structure and ensuring that there are no aggrieved parties, mending fences. Mind you, my election was a one-way whereby people across all political platforms voted me. Gratefully, I'm so grateful to my people for that. So I've been able to manage that. But most importantly is I have focused on delivering my promises that I had captured in my manifesto, which is to project their very concerns with regards to the healthcare situation, educational reforms, and all of that in the budget. And I've done pretty much well.
So it's less of political fights now and battle.
I'm all about working. Now there's time for politicking, there's a time for the elections, and now it's time to work. And I find the fellow senators in the National Assembly, they're quite embracing across all parties.
Interesting that there are just a few of you who are female senators.
Just 4 of us.
Just 4 of you. As a dwindling, by the year, the representation of women is dwindling. Are you worried about that, though?
I am very worried. And as a matter of fact, I've had quite a number of meetings with international organizations and embassies of certain countries that are really concerned and are willing to offer support, especially when we present the gender bill, which I'm working closely with distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe and the other 2 female senators. Yeah. So there are certain conversations going on around that, and we hope that by the time we present it, we'll have a greater support, especially from our male folks, and the president himself will assent to that, so we can have a greater representation. Because 4, as a number of representing people of over 100 million, I think that's quite a point ratio.
And you've got some very good representation too. Very strong women. Yourself, Senator Kingibe, and a former deputy governor in Lagos State.
An idiot, a fantastic woman.
You've got some very strong women in there. And kudos to you.
Thank you.
It might be drowning when it's only baritone that you hear across the room and find the...
We've learned to raise our voices up. We raise our voices up whenever we're not heard. And we have the Senate President always says, Senator Natasha, we're all men here, okay? So speak like a man. There's no softening the ground for you. You decided to be here, so you have to
So you're trying to find your way around the room. How tough is that, though, in a male-dominated arena?
I would say, first, for myself, I'd like to focus on the context of what I'm speaking about, and I don't take into consideration that I'm a woman. So I don't present femininity at work. I present competence. I'm a woman, I'm a senator, I'm duly elected like everyone here, and I speak my ground.
And those who saw you fought your way politically in Kogi will say you fought like a man too.
That's what they say. They say I fought tougher than a man. Yeah.
All right, let's get to the matter. Some of the female in the national, in the Senate are trying to buy gold, but you are digging for gold, and it seems that you are almost there. Second reading that your bill is passed now. Why are you interested in gold?
It all started, the idea to sponsor the gold bill came up in February at a committee, the banking committee, of which I'm a member of. We were screening the CBN Monetary Policy Committee, and there sat the DG Sec, which is Lamido Yuguda. And I asked him a question. If you become a part of the CBN Monetary Policy Committee, how do you intend to boost Nigeria's gold reserve? And do you mind letting us know exactly what the status of the gold reserve is? And his response shocked me, as it did shock the other members of the committee. He said that indeed the CBN did have a gold reserve, but the last time CBN bought a gold bar was in the 1960s. And I thought, wait.
Since the 1960s?
1960s was when the CBN bought a gold bar. That means the last time the Nigerian Central Bank took stock of a gold bar in its reserve was in the 1960s. And then that now led me to begin to research. I was like, okay, I remember when we were in primary school, we all had this atlas, where we saw the pyramids, granite pyramids up north, we see the cotton, and I remember gold in Elisha. And I was like, if we had gold all this while, then why don't we have renowned gold refineries, gold processing zones, and then having them bullioned and Nigeria's own share being reserved in the central bank? I mean, that will bring about economic stability. It will bring about, apart from the job generation, the foreign direct investment it will project, and, it will bring a lot of cushion, especially right now that our currency is weakening. So I thought, we can get our gold exploited, explored, and marketed to the very advantage of Nigerians. And of course, when we can get our CBN begin to yearly announce how much we have in our gold reserves, and we can begin to trade with them. And we've seen countries that actually enter into foreign investments in trading their gold. So I thought about that, and I spoke to members of the committee. I began to network. I was also told that it was such a dangerous bill to pass, considering certain interests with regards to the illegal mining. And I was also made aware that there could be some international forces that would frown at that, because, wherever there is chaos and uncertainty in Nigeria, there are certain people that benefit from that. So I took time, I spoke to my husband, because I had to let him know that, okay, there's some murky waters that I would step on, I would get to swim in, but I made him understand the importance, and he told me, okay, go ahead. I had the reason why.
Your husband was also an inspiration for this, isn't it?
Yes, I'm saying this because as a woman, we talk about women in politics. It's very important to know that in everything I do, I take into cognizance the dangers that my family could be exposed to. And so the first thing I did was to let my husband know that this is what I was going to do. And once I got okay, I also let the Senate President and a few other senators around, and I began to network, to lobby, to develop. It took me February, March, April, May, June, about 4 months to develop a 40-page draft of the bill. So I figured out that there was going to be a need for the Gold Reserve Authority, or the Gold Corporation, as it may be called. We would need to have the artisanal miners taken into consideration, because if you know, right now, a lot of insecurity and killings that take place in these gold-saddled communities is likely because so. Yeah,
we have a gold potential of over $40 billion US.
It's actually even much more than that.
Yeah.
It's if you calculate, if you multiply 300 million ounces, I'm going to use ounces as a measurement scale, 300 million ounces by the rate of gold per ounce today, which is about $2,300 US dollars. We're talking about $700 billion worth of gold reserve.
And it's been said, Senator, this year alone, that over almost $1.5 billion worth of gold has gone into private, gold mining or exploitation has gone into only private hands in Nigeria. That means that the nation has been shortchanged and that the Nigerian people had not really gotten the benefit. But how would this bill allow Nigeria, just like we're getting from oil, and Nigeria, the states of the Federation, get money from oil, are we going to be able to benefit from gold exploitation and marketing?
Definitely. Once this legislative framework is established, and that will give birth to certain gold directorates and the Gold Authority, which will be situated under the Ministry of Solid Minerals. All of these regulations, we are going to curb these excesses of the illegal miners. Mind you, the projections you just gave now is just minimal because you would never really have an estimate of the true value of gold as it's been exported out.
How much of the ill in the industry have you found out? Because you've you put your hands in a whole lot of...
The first I will say this is that the lives that have been lost because there are no mining regulations. About a few weeks ago, 30 miners were trapped in an avalanche, should I say, in the Niger State. Once this, I think the greatest loss is the lives that are being killed or the people that are being buried in submerged mines. That happens because we have not set standards as to mine. So these illegal miners, they go into these holes and keep digging, and they paid peanuts for that. They don't even understand, these communities that have gold don't even understand the true value of what they have. Because some of our communities and states are so blessed that at every rainfall, we see gold, the ground shines. And I would say the greatest loss that our country encounters is with regards to the loss of lives because of the encouragement of these illegal miners. And the second one I talk about is the various community clashes. We've seen several communities displaced. People systematically create chaos in communities that are blessed with minerals. And all of this happens because, again, there are no regulations. And the monetary part of it we talk about is the currency stability. Every time our naira almost got to 2,000 to $1. Now imagine if we had, over time, developed our gold reserve by deploying the very best international practices in gold. Do you know what we would have been? We would not just relying alone or relying on oil. Oil, to the grace of God, has sustained Nigeria. But we mean, if the country means to diversify, then this is the best way to do it in real terms. I mean, we all know all over the world, if you go to gold.org, while the barrel of crude might go down or fall sometimes below $50 per barrel, gold never does. It's the most stable, tangible asset any country can peg its economy by. And that's what I want for our country. Not only are we going to generate jobs, because we are going to set standards, we're going to have directorates, we're going to have this refinery set up in strategic states, not just in Zamfara, in Nasarawa, in Ondo, in Oyo State, in even Kogi State. We have gold in the western part of Kogi. And you know something, Shehu? By the time we have this framework set up, the minister is going to issue out strategic licenses, exploration licenses to people. And then we begin to discover many more reserves that we never knew existed. You could be surprised that the future of our country's economy lies in gold. And now that we are quite moving fast, we've just passed I did this the lead debate, which is the second reading. Now it's been sent to the committee for public hearing, Joint Committee of Banking and Solid Minerals, which we believe will meet after the
holiday.
After the holiday, yeah. So I think I'm really glad with the attention this bill has gotten with the Senate, with the National Assembly, and in no time it should be a law. And believe me, I actually took time to put together what it will cost, because I saw some questions. People are asking, another agency, another ministry, bureaucracy. No, it's not about that. Remember, there are certain agencies or directorates that are self-funding on its own, like gold. There are going to be taxes for once the country will be able to earn taxes, because we will be able to define how much we are extracting, how much we are processing, how much we are selling off, and how much we're reserving. So, which I made a budget of just about $2 billion. It's going to take just about $2 billion to set up this directorate.
But
and then it to start
a lot of
funding
people,
itself.
A lot of Nigerians might have their reservation about setting up another bureaucracy in government, because when we're talking about cutting cost of governance. But there is something I'd like you to explain or talk about, and it is the ability of state government. I mean, you mentioned Elisha, for example, and I can mention 3, 4, 5 states in Nigeria that gold are being exploited and mined at the moment. Zamfara is very popular. Osun State, Atakumasha local government, Elisha area,
Nasarawa,
Kwara State,
Kwara.
Nasarawa. I mean, these are places where you have huge deposits of gold. But the states that have these deposits do not benefit in any way, not to talk of the federal government. But again, you know, the natural asset in the land are naturally owned by the federal government.
Exactly.
How have you thought about the framework in such a way that the states are able to, not only that they are rich under the ground and they are poor, how, I mean, and we saw what happened in the Niger Delta over the years.
Yeah, with the oil.
Now, they are living, and their water polluted every day. They're living, standing on oil deposit, but then they are poor. So the question is, how will these states and the local community be able to benefit? Are you thinking based on the experience of the Niger Delta region?
Yeah, as of today, gold falls under the exclusive list, just like oil, whereby it's a sole product of the federal government, right? But I think in the course of this public hearing, because we're going to invite the states as stakeholders, you know, to participate in how they would want the legislation to be drafted. But in a bit to have a buyer participation and the spirit of true federalism, it only makes sense that gold could fall under the concurrent list, whereby both the federal and the state would have a right to decide the terms of its exploration and also benefit from the taxes that could be generated from that. Another advantage of this gold reserve, which I thought the gold framework, is the environmental protection. Just like many other areas that have been, where the minerals have been mined, if you look at a typical area where gold is mined, the environment is usually degraded. You know, and the investors, should I say, the illegal miners, the bigwigs care little or nothing about how the community are able to farm or fend, or the kind of water they drink. Mind you that for every area where gold is mined, a lot of water is being utilized, a lot of water. So that means a lot of water is polluted. And imagine children and drinking such water, or everybody, don't even talk about children, everyone drinks water that is polluted. And these people usually suffer the greatest burn. So this regulation is such multifaceted that it takes care of every aspect, not just in terms of generating revenue for the government, but also thinking about better lives and quality of life for the environment and the communities that this mineral is being harnessed from.
Are you trying to gain any experience from other climes that the United States and other climes? I mean, you find a lot of gold potentials in the U.S. and leading the business in gold industry globally. But there are dynamics to how things are panning out in those climes. Are you getting experience from how they are faring and what they have experienced over the last few years?
Yeah, I understudied the past few months. I read a lot about the Indonesian mining sector and how much just in a few years, just about 4 years, that the Indonesian government decided to put a structured framework around nickel and gold. They were able to generate over 1,000% increase in income from this sector. So I did study that. I also looked at certain countries like Ghana that actually has so much more gold than Nigeria, and how they have poorly behaved. You know, they have not been able to
But how many countries still trade in gold these days?
Oh, it's actually a lot of countries right now. If
I'm
you look
not
at
sure
the
there is anyone.
BRICS, India itself, India, Brazil, Russia, and many others, they're actually developing. Some don't just trade, but they just develop their reserve as a cushion, economic cushion. It was in the news about 6 days ago or 7 days ago that India has requested the return of its gold from the UK reserve. And there has been debates as to why is India calling that. But then they just said no. They just want to have their.
So you see a lot of
countries are beginning to
and you are
understand
hopeful that this will pass.
That of course it will pass. A lot of countries are beginning to realize that. I mean, paper currency that fluctuates, and then as against something more is a tangible asset. And so that's what. Even in America, UK, France, Germany, countries that don't even have gold are increasing their gold reserves. And you ask a question: where do they buy their gold from? Invariably, you can connect the dots.
Yeah.
While one country that has a lot of gold sells it illegally for close to nothing at a loss, and other countries that, even though they don't trade in gold, but they are constantly developing and building their gold reserves for future's sake.
All right, Senator, I wish you the very best in these your pursuit, and hoping that it will cross the hurdles of the passage, the third, the fourth, and finally the president's ascent. I wish you the very best. But there's some controversial bills that have passed through the national anthem. One will be wondering, a lot of Nigerians are asking, is it the national anthem that is our problem now? Why did you and your colleagues think that Nigeria need a new national anthem at this stage of our lives, Senator? You voted yes for that bill, isn't it?
Here's what I'll say. If you listen to the words of the national anthem that has been the new national anthem, I wouldn't say it was actually an older national anthem.
The old new or the new old, whichever way.
The new old. If you listen to the words of the national anthem, I think they actually resonate more with the spirit of building patriotism. And that does not mean that the old national anthem, which tried to honor our heroes past and the works of our youth into national building, that doesn't mean that it's not in any way good. But I would just say that it wasn't a unilateral decision, and neither was it just one arm of government that decided to deploy that. It was, I would say, a collective effort. And to those who are aggrieved, I would just say, read the words of, should I say?
Lyrics.
Read the lyrics in their true term. The words alone cannot build nationhood, but our actions will. So let us put aside the debate on whether this is the right time to change a national anthem, but let us project more of how we can collectively support Nigeria to be better. I'm in PDP, but I have come to accept that the president, Tinubu from APC, is the president of Nigeria till 2027. And every day I wake up thinking, how can I contribute my own quota in that little space I find myself? How can I help my country grow? And that is why I've refused to join a lot of quite controversial issues, but I've thought of cracking my mind and bringing about the gold bill, as many others that I'm going to bring forth in the coming weeks and months, so I can bring about economic stability and help our country grow. And that's what other Nigerians should do.
Yeah, my final question to you will be the controversial anti-grazing bill that come onto the floor, which a lot of some Nigerians think that, how dare a lawmaker think that a cattle or a cow should be seen at par as human? How did you guys receive it on the floor?
I think there was just some misconception in that. What distinguished Senator Alero was trying to say was that the Nigerian constitutions allow free movement of persons and businesses across country. That means if you're an Igbo man or you're a Yoruba man from the south or east, you are free to establish your businesses in the northern part or whichever it is, as you know. And that the whole argument is that herding or cattle rearing, as you say, should be looked at as an economic concern. You understand, as an economic concern, such that the interventions that the rice farmers get, the interventions that the cassava farmers get, the interventions that the fishermen get, so also should be same interventions that the herdsmen should get. And that, of course, due to climate change and many other unforeseen circumstances that have been falling us, therefore we should speak about grazing, controlled grazing spaces for these herdsmen, so that we would not have cows walking the streets and destroying other people's homes. But however, let us talk about how we can identify or nurture herding as an economic concern. that caused me again to do a bit of research. And I looked at Argentina, I looked at Holland, I looked at even America as it may be, as it is. How are they able to develop their herding business? And I discovered that there are actually seeds. There are seeds for different kinds of grasses. So now if you have cows that you are growing for milking, to produce milk for butter or whatever, then you go for more of the ryegrass, the RYE grass. If you are looking at, if you want to have your cows fattened for beef, then you look more at the Bermuda grass. And these seeds are available. So I was just thinking, it wouldn't be out of place that as we provide fertilizers, sometimes at a discounted rate to farmers, or sometimes even for free to farmers, and if we provide seedlings for other crops, and other interventions for rice farmers, then it's not out of place if the federal government can say, okay, we are actually going to import these seeds, these grass seeds that grow fast and grow very nutritious. For example, the rye grass has protein of about 26%. Imagine grass having protein of about 26%. So it won't be out of place if we begin to build the ecosystem around herding, so as to allot a large piece of land for these farmers in selected states and say, you know what, you are going to be in this confined space. You have your schools, you have your clinic facilities, you have an entire community for you, and we're going to have these interventions, have this grass, grow them, and see that they actually help provide. Because most of these herdmen, the arguments they make is that they love their cows, they are connected to their cows, they can't watch their cows starve. It's all about food. So that they don't even like this Fulani herdsmen, don't even like the fact that they have to walk away from their wives and children for months nurturing these cows. And that actually causes conflict because when they stumble upon these farms, the corn farm, they then watch them eat. And that's, of course, very wrong. But I'm asking on the federal government if we can begin to look at herding as an economic concern. And understudy America, understudy countries like Brazil, in Argentina, and see how, even Japan, the Wagyu beef. Do you know that in Japan, the Wagyu beef, they actually massage these cows, and that's premium price. So let us begin to see how can we grow our herding business to a point where we begin to have bottled milk, we begin to have butter, we begin to have a lot of, even baby milk. There are the cows that produce baby milk were actually injected with DNA from human beings. That's to tell you how advanced, how innovation and technology have been deployed in herding. So we need to go into that.
All right. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate it. And I wish you the very best in your good mining business of getting the law passed. Thanks
so much for having me here, Shem. It's always a pleasure being with you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.